right, get ready because we're diving deep today into ancient Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
But before you think pyramids and hieroglyphs, we're going way beyond the usual stuff.
Right.
We've got this academic article, and let me tell you, it throws down a real challenge.
Oh.
Asking us to completely rethink how we see this whole civilization. And it argues
Yeah.
a lot of what we think we know about ancient Egypt, like what we think we know,
Yeah.
it's all been, like, filtered through a very specific lens.
So, like,
A Western one.
a Western one.
And that might be
Leaving some stuff out.
yeah, some really important parts of the story.
Big parts.
Huge parts.
Wow.
That's intriguing, but the article goes even further. It doesn't just say, hey, maybe look at it differently. It practically accuses Western scholars
No.
of straight up misinterpreting ancient Egypt. Like imposing their own values and, this is wild, infantilizing the Egyptians.
Wow.
Is that really happening?
Well, the article definitely points out this thing, the pattern
Yeah.
of portraying ancient Egyptians as, like, intellectually
Less than,
inferior
yeah,
to other ancient cultures.
right.
And it's saying this has some serious consequences
For how we understand.
for how we see their achievements.
Yeah, the article even brings up that idea
What's that?
that the Egyptians just, like, stumbled upon their mathematical knowledge
Stumbled upon it.
through trial and error.
Really?
But then you look at the pyramids.
Yeah.
Amazing pyramids.
Engineering.
Incredible engineering.
Mind-blowing.
Makes you wonder.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Are we really saying they just got lucky with the math?
But lucky. Come on, doesn't
Add up.
it doesn't. That's exactly what the article's getting at.
Yeah.
It's calling out this tendency to downplay how sophisticated their thought was by their technology.
Right.
It makes you wonder.
What are the long-term impacts
Yes.
of that kind of dismissal? You know, intellectual dismissal.
Yeah.
Like, how does that feed into those bigger patterns of cultural vibe?
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe there is a historical erasure.
Erasure. Yeah.
There's another example that really stood out to me.
Okay.
It's that idea that ancient Egyptians were obsessed with death.
Obsessed.
Just because they had those elaborate burial rituals.
Yeah.
But son, so many cultures throughout history have had similar practices.
Right.
You know, we don't call them all death obsessed.
Exactly.
It feels like a double standard.
It does.
That's a key point the article raises.
It is.
It's pushing us to recognize how those interpretations might be coming from, like
And a Western assumption their own bias, rather than, really understanding
understanding the Egyptian.
Egyptian.
It's like, are we judging them by our own, like, cultural yardstick?
Our own
Or are we actually trying to see the world?
through their eyes. Through their eyes. But if we're trying to break free from all that,
All that bias.
where do we even begin?
Yeah, where do we begin?
Well, the article throws out this idea of an African Academy perspective
Oh, interesting.
on ancient Egypt.
Hmm.
What does that even mean? I mean, it sounds kind of exclusive.
Yeah.
So it's important to be clear about what the article's getting at.
It's not about making some exclusive club or, like, shutting people out.
Okay.
It's about making space for knowledge
Okay.
and perspectives that have been sidelined
For too long.
for way too long.
Yeah.
Imagine studying American history,
Okay.
but only reading British textbooks.
Oh, wow.
You'd be missing a huge chunk of the story.
Really?
That's kind of what's been happening with ancient Egypt.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's about, like, reclaiming the narrative.
Reclaiming it,
Bringing in those African voices that have been missing.
missing from the whole conversation.
Exactly. And the article argues that this isn't just about rewriting history. No.
It's about healing
Knowing
from historical trauma,
drama.
losing those African perspectives on ancient Egypt. It's almost like cultural
Genocide, right. Erasing the whole way of understanding the world. The world.
Wow, that's heavy stuff.
It is.
But it makes you realize how much is at stake.
Yeah.
It's not just about dusty old artifacts.
It's not.
It's about people,
About
cultures, how we understand ourselves, our place in the world.
absolutely. And the article dives deeper into this idea of how
And how our perceptions
they're shaped.
are shaped by these seemingly small things,
Small things.
like the names we use for places,
Names.
color of them.
That caught my attention too.
Yeah.
The article talks about how using Greek names for ancient Egyptian cities, concepts, it can actually change a whole understanding
Whole understand.
of the civilization.
How does that even work?
I know. How does that even work?
What's fascinating is how language can, like, subtly shape our thinking. The article uses this example.
Okay.
Kemet, the original Egyptian name for their land,
Right.
versus Egypt.
The Greek name.
Greek name.
It's like, what if we still called New York City New Amsterdam?
You answer.
Would it feel the same?
I don't know.
Would we picture the same things?
Probably not.
So just by using these Greek names, are we like subconsciously putting ancient Egypt into this? Like a
Ritual.
Greek box?
Yeah,
Even if we don't mean to?
that's exactly what the article's suggesting. These little, linguistic choices
Linguistic choices.
can have a huge impact on how we interpret this whole civilization. And it goes beyond just Egypt, too.
It does.
The article highlights tons of examples of original Egyptian names
Oh, wow.
alongside their Greek counterparts,
Like what?
like Memphis,
Yeah.
which was Menifer,
Menifer.
or Alexandria, known as Raquot.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah.
It's like we're layering someone else's label
Layering them
on top of their culture.
on top of it.
Right, and it's not just about the names themselves, right? It's
No.
not recognizing every word carries
Stories,
like a certain weight,
wait,
a history.
a way of seeing the world.
Yeah, and when we impose our own language on another culture, we risk losing some of the
nuance
nuance and the
Freedom.
complexity of their own understanding.
of how they understood things.
This all ties into something else the article brought up.
Okay.
This idea of Western eschatology.
Western eschatology.
I gotta admit, ancient Greek's a little rusty.
Mine too.
What does that even mean?
So Western eschatology is basically
Makes like
all the end of the world stuff. I mean, the article is saying a lot of Western scholarship
on ancient Egypt.
of ancient Egypt
Yeah.
has been driven by these religious debates within the West,
Yeah, but
especially around Christianity.
so they're focused on their own ideas about the afterlife,
Yeah.
and missing what the Egyptians were actually saying.
Exactly. And the article contrasts this with an African perspective that wants to understand Kemet for what it was,
Yeah.
free from those biases from outside.
And one example the article uses is
Yeah.
the whole debate about spells versus prayers
Spells versus prayer.
in ancient Egyptian texts. So interesting.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Are they seriously saying that just because a culture
Just
has elaborate burial rituals, they're automatically obsessed with death?
automatically upset?
That doesn't seem fair.
It's like they're trying to force these ancient beliefs
Yeah.
into like predefined Western categories.
Yeah.
And that's the danger
And the
of imposing our own assumptions.
on this culture so far removed.
So different.
Yeah.
The article's really pushing us to consider
Consider.
how those assumptions could be distorting our understanding. I feel like we're just scratching the surface here.
I know.
And it's already making me rethink everything I thought I knew
Me too.
about ancient Egypt.
It's amazing. What else is there?
Let's keep going. What else is there to uncover?
Let's find out. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
This need for an African-centered understanding.
Of ancient Egypt.
It's not just for Africans.
Really?
The article frames this as a global invitation.
Oh, wow. So it's not about excluding anyone.
No.
It's about opening up the conversation,
Yeah.
making room for more voices.
More voices at the table.
Exactly. It's about going beyond those Eurocentric interpretations.
Which have dominated for so long.
Yeah, for so long.
And acknowledging the richness,
Nah,
complexity,
comes when we have all this perspective.
when we embrace multiple perspectives.
That's what I love about this.
What's that?
Ancient Egypt belongs to everyone.
It does.
Not just a select group of scholars who happen to be from the West.
The article really drives that point home. It argues that by actively engaging with these diverse perspectives, we could all gain a much deeper, more authentic understanding
But this incredible civilization,
that benefits everyone.
it really does.
Yeah.
You know, hearing all this
Yeah.
makes me wonder about some of the other claims
Another claim.
about ancient Egypt.
Okay.
You know, the things that are considered common knowledge.
Right.
What if those interpretations are also, like, built on shaky assumptions?
Built on shaky assumptions or biases.
Or biases, yeah.
That's such an important question.
Yeah.
And the article really encourages us to be more critical
More credible.
and discerning about those claims.
Like what?
Well, for example,
Okay.
it challenges that common portrayal ancient Egyptians being obsessed with death,
Oh, right.
suggesting that comes from a misunderstanding of their burial practices.
It's like they saw the pyramid
The pyramids,
all those treasures buried with
the pharaohs, and they just jumped to conclusions. They didn't get it. They didn't really get the cultural and spiritual significance behind those practices. Yeah, but the article argues those practices were about celebrating life, ensuring a smooth passage to the afterlife. Not fearing death itself? No, not at all. That makes a lot more sense. It does. Instead of judging their beliefs based on our own norms, yeah, we should try to see things from their perspective. In their own context. Absolutely. Yeah. And the article offers some pretty fascinating insights into the Egyptian worldview. Oh, wow. Highlighting their connection to nature. Okay. Their belief in the interconnectedness of all things. Oh, yes. And their deep respect for the cycles of life and death. Yeah. Okay, so we've covered challenging Western interpretations. Okay. Reclaiming the narrative. The power of name. Yeah, the power of name. Escaping those Western eschatology boxes. Right. What else? What else does this article highlight? In its quest to reframe our understanding of ancient Egypt, it dives deeper into that infantilization thing. Infantilization, yeah. We touched on that earlier. We did. The article claims that Western scholars have often downplayed that was the intellectual achievement of the ancient Egyptians, portraying them as somehow less advanced than other ancient cultures. Yeah, we talked about the math and pyramid thing. Right. But are there other examples? Oh, absolutely. Of this intellectual downplay? Yeah, it points to this tendency to chalk up any Egyptian advancement to outside influence. Outside influence, exactly. It's like saying they learned astronomy from the Babylonians. Yeah, the philosophy for the Greeks. Exactly. But what if they were already experts in those areas? It makes you wonder, what if they developed their own unique systems of knowledge long before those other cultures even came into the picture? That's the key question the article's raising. It urges us to at least consider the possibility. Okay. That the Egyptians weren't just borrowing knowledge. Okay. They were innovators. Innovators making major contribution to fields like mathematics. Okay. Astronomy, medicine. Even philosophy. Wow, that's incredible. It is. Just think about the implication. If we've been underestimating their intellectual capability on this many of, what else have we missed? Exactly. What other discoveries are waiting to be uncovered if we approach their civilization with a fresh set of eyes? With fresh eyes. That's what makes this so exciting. I know, it's exciting. This article throws open the door. A whole world of possibility. Encouraging us to re-examine what we think we know. Yeah. And approach ancient Egypt with a sense of wonder. Genuine curiosity. Yeah, to be honest. Yeah. I'm a little embarrassed by how little I know. You and me both. About ancient Egypt before this deep dive. It's amazing what you can learn. It's like I was only seeing this tiny sliver of the whole picture. A tiny sliver. And that's the power of questioning our perspectives, right? It is. It forces us to confront our own blind spots. Our blind spot. And embrace new ways of seeing the world. New ways of seeing. Okay, so we've been talking about some pretty heavy topics now. Misinterpretations, biases, even cultural genocide, yeah. It's heavy stuff. But I don't want to lose sight of the beauty, the wonder of ancient Egypt itself. And the article doesn't either. It doesn't. It radiates with this deep appreciation for the art, the architecture, the literature, the spiritual beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. It encourages us to see beyond those stereotypes, and really appreciate the richness and complexity of their culture. One way it does that is by highlighting the Egyptians' connection to nature, by placing their profound connection. It emphasizes how the Egyptians viewed themselves as part of a larger cosmic order, deeply intertwined with the rhythms of the natural world. Yeah. The Nile River, the source of life, the source of fertility. They revered it. They did. And their entire cosmology was filled with gods and goddesses, representing the forces of nature. It's like they had this holistic understanding of the world, recognizing the interconnectedness of everything. That resonates with a lot of people today. It does. Especially as we're becoming more aware of our own impact. On the planet? On the planet, yeah. Absolutely. The article suggests that by looking at the Egyptians' relationship with nature, we might gain some valuable insights
into
for our own environmental challenges,
our own challenge.
and find new ways to live in harmony with the earth.
That's powerful.
It is.
It's like ancient Egypt isn't just about tombs and hieroglyphs.
It's
It's a wellspring of wisdom
of wisdom
and inspiration.
inspiration that can help us navigate complexities
Of our own time. Of our own time, that's right.
And that's exactly why reclaiming ancient Egypt from an African perspective is so crucial.
It's not just about correcting the historical record.
No.
It's about rediscovering this vibrant cultural heritage
That has the potential to enrich our understanding
of ourselves.
of ourselves and the world around us.
You know, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm struck by how much this article challenges us to think differently.
To think differently,
Not just about ancient Egypt,
not just about ancient Egypt,
but about history itself.
how we approach knowledge.
How we approach knowledge, yeah.
It's powerful,
It's a powerful reminder that history is never completely objective.
never completely objective.
It's always shaped by the perspectives of those who are writing it.
Those who are telling the story
And that's why it's so important to
say,
seek out those diverse voices.
challenge the dominant narratives.
Yeah, I feel like this deep dive has opened my eyes
Open your eyes.
to a whole new way of seeing things.
It's amazing.
I'm definitely going to keep exploring these ideas,
Just
learning more about ancient Egypt from all these different perspectives.
that's the spirit.
And that's exactly what the article is calling for.
It is.
It's an invitation to engage with the past
In a more critical
in a more open-minded way,
and to embrace
the vast richness.
and diversity of human experience.
Well, on that note, okay, I think it's time to move on to the final part
The final part.
of our deep dive into reclaiming ancient Egypt.
We've covered so much ground,
So much.
but there's still more to uncover.
There's always more to uncover.
No.
Okay, so we've talked about shifting perspectives, going beyond those Eurocentric interpretations of ancient Egypt.
Right.
But how do we actually do that?
Yeah, how do we put it into practice?
What does that look like day to day?
Well, the article has some suggestions.
Okay.
One is to prioritize and amplify the work of African scholars,
Okay.
really centering their voices in the conversation.
Makes sense.
It also suggests branching out
Beyond,
beyond traditional Western academia.
like what? What do you mean?
Think oral histories,
Okay.
indigenous knowledge systems,
Interesting.
even artistic expressions.
So it's about expanding what we even consider valid knowledge, right?
Yeah, and recognizing that expertise.
It exists.
It exists outside of those traditional institutions.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
Instead of just reading about ancient Egypt through the lens of Western scholars,
Right.
you can try to experience it
experience it.
through the eyes of the people who are descendants of that civilization.
I mean, even descendants.
Yeah.
And the article really emphasizes that.
Okay.
Understanding that unbroken thread
Between
in ancient Kemet and contemporary African cultures,
Mm,
it argues that by exploring those living connections,
yeah.
we can get a much deeper appreciation for the legacy.
The enduring legacy.
Yeah, the enduring legacy of this civilization.
It's like saying ancient Egypt isn't just something that happened way back when.
Right.
It's still alive
It's still present.
in cultures and traditions of people today.
Precisely.
And recognizing those connections.
Yeah.
The article says it allows us to start healing
Healing.
on that cultural amnesia.
That came from colonialism and suppressing African voices.
Okay, so we've talked about the need for diverse perspectives,
Okay?
the importance of African scholarship.
Continuity between ancient and contemporary African cultures.
What does all this mean for, you know, everyday people?
Yeah, people who aren't scholars.
People who aren't historians.
Right.
How can we engage with these ideas?
The article emphasizes the power of education
Uh-huh.
and critical thinking.
Critical thinking.
It encourages us to question
The assumption.
the assumptions we've been taught about history,
Yeah.
to actively look for alternative sources of information.
To be curious.
Curious,
Open-minded. Willing to challenge things.
challenge the status quo.
Exactly.
It's about recognizing that history is not set in stone.
It's not a fact.
It's not just facts, it's a conversation.
The conversation.
And we can all be a part
But
of
we
it.
can shape it.
Yeah,
One of the things that really struck me about this article
yeah.
is that sense of hope.
Hope and possibility.
Possibility, yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's not just pointing out flaws
It's not just
on how we understand ancient Egypt.
right.
It's offering this new path forward.
A new path.
This way to reclaim this lost knowledge.
Create a more inclusive understanding of the past.
Absolutely. Ultimately, this article is a call to action.
It is.
It urges us to step outside our comfort zones.
Embrace new perspective.
Work together.
To build a more just and truthful representation of history.
I think that's a powerful message.
It is.
For everyone, no matter your background.
Your expertise.
It's a reminder that we all have this responsibility.
I do.
To engage with history.
Thoughtfully.
Yeah.
And to use our voices to challenge injustice.
Promote understanding.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
This article makes a valuable contribution.
He does.
I hope it inspires more people.
Yep.
To delve into the history of ancient Egypt.
From these different perspectives.
From all these different perspectives.
I know, I'm feeling inspired.
Me too.
This deep dive has given us so much to think about.
It really has.
What stands out to you?
What will you be pondering?
When it's all over.
I'm struck by the idea of reclaiming ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Not just as a period of time,
It is.
as a source of knowledge, inspiration,
And today.
for us today.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder how we might approach modern challenges differently if we tapped into that wisdom, those insights.
That's such a good point.
It is.
It's like instead of viewing ancient Egypt as this relic of the past,
A relic,
we can see it as this living legacy
a living legacy
that can help us understand the world,
guide us.
guide us toward a better future,
A more sustainable future.
a more equitable future.
Exactly. And I think that's a message worth spreading.
Well, on that note,
Okay.
it's time to wrap up our deep dive.
Into reclaiming ancient Egypt.
We've explored challenging Western interpretations,
Reclaiming the narrative.
the power of names,
The connection between ancient and contemporary African cultures.
but as we've learned,
This is just the beginning.
there's so much more to uncover.
To explore it.
To our listeners, we encourage you to continue this journey.
Seek out those diverse voices.
Challenge your own assumptions.
Embrace the richness and complexity of ancient Egypt.
Who knows what amazing insights await you?
You never know.